Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, this is W. Mark Watts. Hello, welcome, and thank you for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today's episode, I will do my best to keep it somewhat brief. Hope I don't get on a tangent or on a roll, but my goal is just to simply make a point to point out something to you that might be happening in your life. And today's episode is just about sometimes life calls you to something new. Sometimes it calls you to something different. And in particular, something that you didn't expect or it wasn't really prepared for. And oftentimes those are the ones that are really scary is when you're not prepared for it. So just what am I rambling on about right now? So I think it was maybe even a week or a couple weeks ago that I spoke on one of my episodes about a gentleman by the name of Ahmaud Arbery, who got into an altercation where he had been basically followed and accosted by, this is a young black man, accosted by actually what we know now is 3 white gentlemen in Georgia here in the U.S., and they had guns, and there was a struggle, and he ended up dead, 3 gunshot wounds. Well, you have to be living really under a rock now to notice another tremendous deal that's been going on here in the U.S. And again, I say again, over and over, this pattern has repeated itself for years. But this time it's another incident of a black male being killed, murdered by police, a guy who had his knee on this guy's windpipe until he passed out and he eventually died. Total thing is caught on tape. So there's been a lot of unrest in the U.S., a lot of protests. There's been some looting and some violence. And from the time that I heard about this, I think the incident actually happened on a Monday. I found out about it on a Tuesday because if you follow me for any length of time, you know I don't watch a lot of news. I don't get into a lot of that stuff just because it's a lot of negative energy. And it's one of the things that hinders me from keeping my energy really high. However, I do try and keep abreast of the major topics that come across, periodically. And so, of course, I come across this. And again, being a middle-aged black male, having been through certain circumstances growing up in the South, I'm from South Carolina, spending the majority of my life in the Southeast United States, I'm well aware of the issues and the things that we deal with on a daily basis and have for a long time. This particular one has hit me even harder than the numerous other incidences over the last 10 to 20 years. Not only do I see myself in these images, but I see my son, who's 19 years old at the time that I'm recording this, I see him in these images. And I think about how we're all connected, we're all one. And at any moment, that could be me in that position. That could be my son in that position. That could be one of my best friends, my cousin, in that position. And it's not only limited to males, it's females as well. I mean, black females in this country are also being targeted at an alarming rate. And so during this last week, I mean, the last really 7 days, I mean, I honestly can tell you, I have not slept well at all. When I am able to get to sleep, I sleep 3, maybe 4 hours, and then I'm up. I'm wide awake. And my energy has been all over the place. I won't call it depressed, but I've been saddened. I've been humbled. I've been angry, very angry. And so when I'm feeling that way, when I'm feeling out of sorts, I've learned now in my older years, I've learned that there's something stirring in me that needs to be honored. There's something calling me. There's something that I have to do. And I started feeling like I haven't done enough. I started feeling like I've let myself down. I've let society down because I haven't done enough on the social front to continue the challenge, to overcome the challenge that people of color have endured in the U.S. for years. And so as that became a theme, and that feeling just festered in me. I mean, like, for example, this morning alone, I went to bed about 12:30, and I woke up at 3:00 this morning, just like wide awake, and could not get back to sleep, no matter how I meditated or anything. And that lets me know that, really there's something heavy on my heart, and that Spirit's really talking to me. And so, long story short, there are new movements, and there have been new movements that have decided or taken on the challenge of being being in the forefront of affecting real change in this country for the better, for people of color. And so now I know that that's part of what are my next steps. That, of course, again, I did not see this coming, but when you're called and you feel it, you have to do things. So there's a couple of organizations that I have my eyes on that I will, if things check out and if I really feel it's the right fit for me, those particular organizations, I will join and really start to focus more on the social economics, the social geopolitical, any social aspect that can help propel more equality in the U.S. and ultimately around the world. I think it's needed. I think the time is right. And I think, again, it's my calling. It's my feeling inside that there's more that I have to do. And I have to figure out where my place is and take that step to really do that more, because I haven't done that in the past, and it's time. So I say all that to say, be on the lookout for those types of situations in your life where, your heart's stirring, you're mad, you're hurt, you're humbled, you're energized, and you really feel like you can contribute and help. You really feel like there's something you have to say, something that you can do. And because, whether it be the pandemic, whether it be social issues, whether it be economic issues, whether it be issues of relationships, whatever you feel stirred by. And in particular, look out for things that you weren't looking for. Look out for opportunities that you were not thinking that you would be into. Could be calling you, but make sure it's right for you. Make sure you do your homework always. Make sure it's true to who you are, whatever you're doing, and then do it. And so, again, I think this is a perfect time for me to be more socially aware. It's time for me to throw my hands into the pot, my resources into the pot, my time into the pot, and do what I can in my general area here to help bring more awareness to affect more change. And so I am sincerely doing that. Again, I'm vetting some organizations right now, finding a good place to jump in and start working. And that's what I want to do. So it doesn't take away from the other things that I'm doing at this point. I haven't been led to completely stop everything that I'm doing right now and focus on that 100%. But I've definitely been invited to join the challenge, join the change, join the shift. I think I've been a part of it in other ways, but now it's incumbent upon me to move more directly in my local area. So be on the lookout for opportunities where you can jump into and affect change or may have major shifts in your mindset, because we're at a time in the transition of the planet. A lot of things are changing and you are a part of that. So be on the lookout for those opportunities where, you may be asked to make some major changes or some different type of contributions or maybe speaking where you never spoke before or doing a different type of job, because that could be a part of your next best step, your next best evolution, your next best happiness and your mission. And because that's always my focus is, am I on mission? Am I listening to what the universe, God's source, is asking me to do? And am I brave enough and willing to do that? Because that's what I'm here for. Just as you're here, we're all here to help serve, to raise the vibration of the planet, to help each other really and truly enjoy this world. And we cannot do that if people of color are continued to be treated the way that we've been treated for so long on this planet. So it's time for a shift, time for a change. I'm making some additions, doing some things new. What are you doing new in your life? What have you realized that, hey, it's time for you to make a shift in? Wherever you find me on social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, shoot me a note. Let me know what's changing in your life. What are you doing new? How are you affecting change in your life and the people around you and the planet? All right. Be good, everybody. I love you. Talk with you again very soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.